joint swearing-in today invokes the concept of unity on a ceremonial and symbolic level. But unity is more than a symbol. It is the challenge that flows to each elected official that has taken an oath today.
Now entering into his second term, DeKalb Chief Executive Officer Burl Ellis begins his next phase of leading this, Georgia's third most populous county, shaping its future through a leadership style of encouraged collaboration, the promotion of partnerships, steering the future of DeKalb through the turbulence of our nation's current economic landscape by effecting the emergence of a united DeKalb County.
DeKalb County takes seriously its mission of working in partnership with the private sector, with the state and federal government, and then bringing resources back here right at home to meet the needs of our citizens.
This collaborative spirit, born from the Ellis administration's commitment to moving DeKalb forward in the midst of some of our country's most challenging times, has resulted in a host of global solutions for national progress. Progress through the climate of stagnation and innovation in response to a declining economy.
We just see DeKalb County being that kind of model for the United States. And we think other communities, other counties, other urban areas around the United States will follow that path.
Perhaps the flagship of DeKalb's legacy of innovation for the partnership is the federally funded compressed natural gas facility at Seminole Landfill.
Well, this is the first landfill in North America that does green electricity, makes electricity from landfill gas, makes pipeline quality gas for transportation fuel, puts it into the pipeline and takes it out for transportation fuel, and fuels vehicles at the site.
The technology of extracting the CNG from our landfill is something that is a leader in the Southeast.
I think a full cycle type operation like this is definitely the way of the future.
DeKalb's Office of Economic Development and Development Authority jointly brought in more than $300 million in new investment to DeKalb County in 2012 alone.
We've invited Mayor Williams, who is the automobile recovery czar, because we want to continue to have a conversation with the federal government, the same conversation that we've been having with the city of Doraville and with the state government and with all of our stakeholders.
And you'd be surprised at how many of these sites fail to achieve a consensus vision from the stakeholders. From my perspective and what we've seen across the country is that it's clear that there's a consensus vision here.
Awarded more than 82 million federal grant dollars over the course of the last 4 years, DeKalb's aggressive community development programming advances the administration's One DeKalb Lives initiative.
One DeKalb Lives embraces all of our programs. Everything that we're doing to make sure that we develop as strong communities, that we work with the housing in our neighborhoods, so that people can live in DeKalb County and feel safe and comfortable in their homes.
Through the purchase and renovation of homes in communities hardest hit by foreclosure, the county's community development program has sold 93% of homes purchased and renovated through that program.
Not only did they cover my complete down payment, over $20,000, this home was completely move-in ready. So it was like I was moving into a brand new home.
During a climate of spiking unemployment rates and businesses forced to close their doors at record numbers, DeKalb leveraged partnerships with government agencies and the private sector to secure a $1.7 million workforce innovation grant and to secure new employment for 1,900 job seekers just last year.
The people that are working for DeKalb workforce were extremely helpful and friendly. It's great. It's a great opportunity.
DeKalb's public-private partnerships helped to provide nearly 200,000 meals during the summer food program in 2012, the renovation of several of the county's 130 parks, and the grand opening of the $20 million Wade Walker Family YMCA.
Some 14 months ago, we did a groundbreaking for this very facility, and now we can see the fruits of the labor from those that were responsible for making it happen.
As budgets have dwindled, to be able to partner with an organization with a reputation such as the YMCA is just such an awesome opportunity, because we can direct the resources that would have been directed here to other areas of the county.
DeKalb's spirit of unity paved the way for the construction of intergenerational centers, new libraries, and the groundbreaking for new senior centers.
Is the coming up with opportunities to redevelop this area and opportunities for aging in place and services for seniors as well.
This senior center really is evidence of the evolution of DeKalb.
This community has survived many years before me, and I can see it surviving many years after me with a wonderful area for work, play, and living, a great place to bring up your kids.
We have to look at this economy and how we as the board and CEO can work together to streamline our apparatus. We got to look at innovation, we got to re-engineer ourselves.
Addressing the needs of the county, DeKalb's current leadership continues to step up to the plate, shepherding the whole of the community.
And I can tell you that the CEO said, I don't want something that we're going to say we're going to do. I want something we'll actually do. I want an action item. I want something we're really going to do.
Many counties and municipalities are attended in decisions, while DeKalb County has really stepped forward and said, you know what, we have a problem here, we have citizens who need solutions, and we're going to step up and solve those problems.
Taking office during the start of the economic downturn, the Ellis administration has weathered the storm of some of the most trying times in the history of our county, including the flood of 2009, spikes in foreclosures, and peak rates of unemployment, yet has masterfully set the stage for this next chapter in the storied future of this county, and our continual progress driven by innovation and fueled through partnership.
I am looking forward to spending more time working on the issues for the entire county.
Well, I'm looking forward to the CEO and the Board of Commissioners working more closely than we have in previous years. I think that's a unique opportunity for us to really move this county forward.
Whether in celebration or in adversity, we stood, and we stood together as one DeKalb. United, we have taken our oath, and united, we stand.
Council for Quality Growth, and all the other business sponsors of today's breakfast. I would like to welcome you to DeKalb State of the County Address. It's my honor this morning to introduce the new presiding officer of the DeKalb Commission, Lee May. And Lee's a good friend of mine, and we share many of the same visions for DeKalb County. And these include ensuring that communities are thriving, secure, and connected to one another, delivering reliable county services in a fiscally responsible manner, and building public-private partnerships. Partnerships that expand economic development and moderate the tax burden on residents and businesses. And through my time as chairman of the DeKalb Chamber in 2012, I have seen how effectively Lee collaborates with business community and other constituencies in DeKalb County. And whether it's working on the nuts and bolts of the budget or working towards a better model for economic development, Lee is truly committed to making DeKalb County a better place, leveraging our many strengths, but also addressing our challenges head on. So a little on Lee's bio now. I just learned this past weekend that Lee was a track star in high school and secured some athletics scholarships. I challenged him to a race outside the parking lot after this event. Actually, I didn't, because he's a little younger than me and he's in good shape, as you'll see in a minute, so I decided I didn't have much of a shot there. But he also got an academic scholarship at Clark Atlanta University and chose that instead. Lee, what are your priorities? He also holds a master's degree in divinity from Emory University's Candler School of Theology. In 2006, Lee became the youngest person in the history of DeKalb County to ever be elected to serve on the Board of Commissioners. And for the past 2 years, he served as chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee, where he has worked to control spending while ensuring that essential county services are effectively provided. And he also serves on the Public Safety Committee. And in July, he was elected to a second term. Lee is now leading an initiative on a new funding mechanism for transportation improvements in DeKalb. And he's also working closely with various stakeholders on a new economic development strategy for the county, which I very much appreciate. When not working, Lee is busy serving as an elder at his church and raising his 2 daughters with his wife, Robin. And Lee also recently authored his first book, My God, My Politics, a discussion on faith and politics. Please welcome our Commission's presiding officer, Lee May.
Thank you, Kevin, for those kind words. Kevin, you are truly a friend, and I appreciate your leadership, both with the Chamber, but also as a resident of this community, in building relationships, building coalitions, understanding that our differences are strengths that we have in DeKalb County to make us a better DeKalb County. And so I thank you again for your leadership. Thank you for your work. Thank you for all that you do for our county. It's an honor to stand here before you all this morning. It's an honor that I don't take lightly. It's an honor that I am ready to move forward with the challenges that we face in DeKalb County. But it's a challenge that can only be overcome by coalition building, by coming together, by utilizing the differences that we have again as strengths to move us forward into a dynamic direction. And it's one that is tough. It's a difficult thing to do when you have to sit down with people that you may have had some differences in the past that you may not even like sometimes. But understanding that if we all have a common goal, that we must forget about our experiences, our bad situations, but we have to come together as one to move us forward in a manner that our children need, in a manner that the tax-paying citizens of our county need, in a manner that our business community needs. And so today I'm honored again to stand here as the new presiding officer of our Board of Commissioners. I have a dynamic group of commissioners that I will get to work with on a day-to-day basis, and I want to make sure that we acknowledge them this morning. We have our Commissioner, Kathy Gannon, is in the back. Why don't you stand up? She's our resident planner on the board. We have Commissioner Stan Watson. That's our He's our economic developer on the board. We have Commissioner Jeff Rader, one of the smartest people in our board. We have Commissioner Sharon Barnes Sutton. Presiding officer for our Board of Commissioners and a good friend as well. I don't know if I'm missing any other commissioners. Is Commissioner Boyer here? I don't think Commissioner Johnson is here. But these are, we are partners in service here in DeKalb County. And we are working together more than ever. You need us to work together. We need for each other to work together. We're committed to that end. I stand here today to introduce our CEO, leader of this county. He is here to present the state of DeKalb County, and I'm sure he's going to talk about some of the challenges that we have. But he and I both, we laughed, and you know this, I'm very open and transparent. After this recent election, we called and talked to each other and congratulated one another, and we basically said after all was said and done, we're both still here. And we acknowledge that. And I'm pleased to serve with Burl Ellis as our CEO. We've had our differences, but again, those differences we can use to do great things here in DeKalb County. So I'm excited about your leadership, Burl. I'm excited about your desire to see our county move forward. I'm excited about helping you to realize some of the great vision that you have for this county. And I stand here, the Board of Commissioners stand here as your partner in moving this county forward. Burl is a very intelligent brother. He is an attorney, a former partner at his law firm. He is a graduate of an Ivy League university, University of Penn. Received his law degree from the University of Texas. My wife is from Texas, so she brags and loves Texas. There you go, Longhorns, right? He is the father of 2 and the husband of 1. And so I'm excited to hear about his state of the county address this morning. So without further ado, I'm going to get out of your way, and let's give a round of applause for our CEO.
To the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners, Judiciary, Constitutional Officers, members of the Georgia General Assembly, and the United States Congress, mayors, and all of our elected officials with us here today. And of course, I see my friend and former colleague who I practice law with, President Caesar Mitchell, thank you for being here, and Chairman Bell, who I forgot to introduce at our inaugural, and so I want to make sure I do that today. Senator Davenport, thank you for being here. And I saw Senator Carter here. I believe he had to step out. And there may be other elected officials I've overlooked, not intentionally. To the Executive Cabinet and other senior members of our administration, to DeKalb County department heads, managers, supervisors, and employees, to our business, civic, faith, educational, and community leaders, and most important, to the citizens of DeKalb County. It is with great humility and honor that I come before you this morning to discuss the state of our county. As I look around the room, I see many faces of friends, family, supporters, and partners who've allowed me to undertake this journey with you to transform DeKalb County into a 21st century model of governance and excellence. Yet any successes we have enjoyed have occurred through partnerships forged with a fierce commitment to serve our citizens. For this reason, I know they've been acknowledged, but I want to personally acknowledge my partners in public service, the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners. The commissioners all please stand together. As Commissioner May said, we can't do it alone. We have to work together. And I would also like to take a moment of personal privilege to acknowledge my wife, Philippa. Phil, thank you for joining us. Now, through partnership, we have accomplished some remarkable things. For example, as you saw in the video, there's the opening of our renewable energy facility and compressed natural gas station at the Seminole landfill. This project, funded in partnership with the U.S. Department of Energy and constructed in partnership with the private sector, is the environmental equivalent of taking 30,000 cars off the road each year and reducing carbon dioxide emissions by 17,000 tons. And then there's the DeKalb County Mobile Career Center, which you also saw in the video, commonly known as our Jobs Bus. This innovative workforce development initiative, funded in partnership with the U.S. Department of Labor, has visited more than 200 locations across the county, providing assistance with job placement, training, skill building, and other services to allow DeKalb County citizens an opportunity to get back to work. Working in partnership with the state and federal governments, we've witnessed a number of streetscape improvements on our major thoroughfares, including Buford Highway, Candler Road, Memorial Drive, Tucker Main Street, Snapfinger Road, and Emory Village, just to name a few. We've partnered with the Path Foundation and expanded our pedestrian walkways and bike paths. In partnership, we constructed the state-of-the-art YMCA, which you also saw on the video at Wade Walker Park. And through bond proceeds approved by DeKalb County voters, we built or renewed 8 libraries in the past 4 years and improved several of our parks. In partnership and with funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, we are now in the process of building 2 new senior centers, with another one on the way. However, our convening today is not merely to recount our successes during one of the worst economic recessions in recent memory, although we have, by working together, accomplished much. But our task today is to set a course towards a future that reflects the best of who we are as stakeholders of this great county. And while as your CEO, I like to highlight our successes, success alone does not tell our full story. To ignore the struggle that always accompanies success is to discount the truth of what many are now feeling. A frank discussion of the state of the county must include the struggle that walks alongside success, lest we leave the elephant in the room when we depart. Our story is the struggle of a great community. Frederick Douglass, a leading abolitionist, author, and orator of his time, a man born into slavery in 1818 in Talbot County, Maryland. He understood more than most the role that struggle plays in affecting positive change. Although remembered most for his brave opposition to American slavery, he also participated in the women's suffrage movement and was recognized for his efforts by being the first African American nominated in 1872 for Vice President of the United States of America. He also served as a U.S. ambassador to the Dominican Republic and in several other public positions. He was a truly remarkable American. On August 4th, 1857, in Canandaigua, New York, he delivered a speech celebrating the emancipation of the British West Indies. An excerpt from that speech reads as follows. If there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom and deprecate agitation are men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. The struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one. And it may be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Here in DeKalb County, we are in fact a great community. Yes, we have our struggles, but our struggles make us stronger. And we have what it takes to withstand challenges and continue forward. And that's why I am encouraged. Yes, the road is rough, the going gets tough, and the hills are hard to climb. But look how far we've come. And our vision going forward is laser focused and inclusive. For example, I know that the 2013 county budget will not be adopted until February, but the budget recommendation that I presented to the Board of Commissioners on December 14th was unprecedented in its formation. Through the spirit of partnership and collaboration, the commissioners and I worked together with our staff and other external stakeholders to develop a budget that's lean, responsible, and responsive to our constituents' priorities. And I'd like to publicly acknowledge at this time Commissioners Lee May and Commissioners Jeff Rader and Stan Watson for serving with me in our budget. tremendous impact on the work of local governments in balancing their budgets. In DeKalb, we have seen a 25% countywide decline in property values. In unincorporated DeKalb, that decline has fallen by 50%. Which ought to digest that digest for me. Now, an easy way to balance a budget under such fiscal adversity would be simply to cut our spending in half. But to do so would deeply impact the quality of life that our citizens depend upon and stall our local economy. So instead, we've taken a more strategic approach. After years of cost cutting to the tune of over $100 million, we are now holding the line in most county departments. And at the same time, we're continuing to identify innovative ways to be more efficient and to increase non-tax sources of revenue so that we can support our strategic plan priorities in 4 critical areas. First, public safety. In accordance with recommendations from our police department, our 2013 budget funds the realignment of our police precincts and the hiring of an additional 25 police officers this year. This proposed increase responds to the county's long-range plan to meet national standards. As a result of unfortunate shootings last year that occurred during a funeral service at a local church, and the tragic shooting of 4-year-old Markel Peters 3 years ago on New Year's Eve, I've asked stakeholders from across the region to work collaboratively on addressing the crisis of violence against our young people that is plaguing our county and our nation. We will begin convening and developing a plan of action to protect our children from senseless gun violence, bullying, gang activity, and any other issue that might impede our youth from fulfilling their dreams and potential, because this is the struggle of a great community. Second, customer service. Our 2013 budget recommendation provides funding for additional training of frontline employees and upgraded technology in order to improve our customer service. Now, nowhere is this needed more than in the area of permitting. In response to concerns by many, we will undertake a comprehensive overhaul of our permits and licensing operations. Through a business process analysis, we will streamline, reorganize, modernize our technology, and retrain our staff. We will put in place a one-stop shop driven by a highly efficient and effective customer service approach. This significant business change effort will support our economic development initiatives and drastically reduce the time it takes to issue permits and business licenses. Third, animal services. In 2012, many concerned citizens asked for improvements to our Department of Animal Services. This is long overdue. We are responding by taking appropriate measures to transform DeKalb County Animal Services into a model for the nation. We have a new Animal Services Director and a Citizens Advisory Board to help guide us. But we also need a new Animal Services facility. Our 2013 budget recommendation provides funding for us to begin the design and construction of a new Animal Services facility this year. Fourth priority, compensation, fair compensation for our employees. Due to budgetary constraints, our county employees have not received a cost of living increase in several years. Despite this fact, many of them have assumed additional responsibilities due to the downsizing in the workforce. My wish would be for all of our county employees to receive a cost of living increase, especially in light of rising pension costs, healthcare costs, as well as food, gas, and other essential items costing more today than in 2006 when the last increase was issued. Now, while we are not yet able to increase salaries for all the DeKalb County employees, I am proposing a cost of living adjustment of 3% for our lowest paid workers, those people making less than a living wage according to national standards. And for the most part, these are our dedicated men and women who work in our sanitation and roads and drainage departments. Now, it's been a challenge, but we're working to reduce expenditures and increase revenue with the goal of paying all of our employees what they deserve. They are the backbone of our government, and our ability to effectively serve the over 700,000 residents who live in DeKalb County is only possible due to the professional workforce we have today. This must be the struggle. Now let me say, I'm keenly aware that these budget priorities could change. The Board of Commissioners has the authority to shift them before final budget adoption. Because cost savings and revenue enhancements alone are not enough to overcome the decline in our tax digest, my budget recommendation includes a $1.69 mil increase, which equates to approximately $48.50 per annum on a $200,000 home, or $4 a month. Fortunately, due to our conservative budgeting practices, we've ended our last fiscal year with a surplus. So we may be able to reduce the amount of that millage increase somewhat and still fund our critical priorities. However, without a modest increase, it will be virtually impossible for us to address all of these critical needs. This is the struggle of a great community. And I believe that the joint work in developing the budget, our joint work, coming together and putting this budget together, has led us to a very responsible outcome that is both realistic and meets the needs of our citizens. During the past 2 years, DeKalb County has been forced to take a defensive posture at the Georgia General Assembly. Efforts to incorporate or annex prime real estate have severely hurt our bottom line. A fractured county will not lift us from this economic recession. In reality, it might place us deeper in it. This is the struggle of a great community. I say this not harboring any ill will to our leaders from our cities or any anti-city sentiment. In fact, I see several of our mayors here today, from Stone Mountain to Lithonia to Clarkston. My relationship with the mayors of DeKalb County is based on mutual respect, friendship, and a desire to serve our respective constituents as best we can. But unique state law on this issue has allowed revenue shifting from the county to city governments, and that hurts us all, whether we live in incorporated or unincorporated portions of this county. And we've now reached the tipping point, where continued annexation will hamper the ability of the county to adequately fund essential services. I'm talking about services from the courts and the criminal justice to libraries and elections. These are services that all of our citizens, whether you live in a city or unincorporated portion of the county, depend upon. So the Board of Commissioners and I have asked our delegation to amend our state code to require that the county grant prior approval for annexation of areas that currently receive county services. Makes sense. And we also want their support of legislation providing property owners new rights to weigh in on matters pertaining to annexation. And we believe these steps will protect the interests of all our citizens and allow for greater dialogue between DeKalb County and its cities to develop a strategy that emphasizes collaboration instead of confrontation. All local governments, cities and counties, face the same challenges of trying to balance our budgets while providing our constituents the frontline services they depend upon. And I see no reason why we cannot find a solution together. This is the struggle of a great community. We also asked the General Assembly to remove restrictions that limit our ability to increase the sales tax for purposes of capital improvement, economic development, transportation, and infrastructure maintenance. We're at a competitive disadvantage with our neighboring counties that have access to funding to repair roads, to build sidewalks, and restore deteriorating infrastructure. This is good public policy with long-term implications on the economy, our environment, and the overall quality of life. And if adopted, this measure would go before the people for a vote. We can offer greater tax relief through our homestead option sales tax and rebuild our infrastructure to levels required to compete in a 21st century global economy. We're actively working with Chairman Howard Mosby and Chairman Emmanuel Jones and the respective members of the House and Senate delegations on these issues. The regional transportation referendum, while failing at the polls last July, offered us a glimpse into the future with regard to regional cooperation. Now, whether or not you agreed with the referendum, most people will agree that a precedent was set. For the first time ever, 21 elected officials representing the metropolitan Atlanta region worked together and unanimously agreed on a common vision for our region. DeKalb County cannot compete alone with Charlotte, Chattanooga, Dallas-Fort Worth, Miami-Dade, Denver, and other high-profile metropolitan regions for investments and federal funding. Our region must move beyond the limitations of political boundaries and recognize that our collective success requires a unity of spirit and action. We must endear ourselves to the words of former U.S. Congresswoman Barbara Jordan, who reminds us, a spirit of harmony can only survive if each of us remembers, when bitterness and self-interest seem to prevail, that we share a common destiny. The Metro Atlanta region shares a common destiny in supporting a regional transit system, in funding Grady Hospital, and protecting the environment, in creating jobs and ensuring that every child receives a quality education and every person has access to affordable health care. I believe we can accomplish these goals if we strive to work together. Since taking office in 2009, I've enjoyed the privilege of helping to bridge the gap in an oftentimes partisan political environment at the federal level in order to achieve maximum benefits for DeKalb County. I'm honored to have served with our president and his administration, our U.S. senators, and our U.S. House delegation members of both parties. And as a result, we've received millions of dollars of federal grants and funding for various projects and programs that directly benefit the citizens of our county. President Obama, in particular, understands how vital it is to support local governments who are the frontline service providers and are key to jumpstarting the economy. His vision for America is inclusive and transformative. And it is our responsibility as elected officials to identify a space where we can contribute when possible, collaborate when appropriate, and criticize when necessary, to guarantee that your voice is heard and your concerns are adequately addressed, because this is the struggle of a great community. Now, 55 years ago, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reminded us essentially of what Frederick Douglass was talking about 100 years earlier. He says, and I quote, "Success never comes easy. It comes through hard labor, and it comes through toil. It comes through hours of despair and disappointment. And that's the way it goes. There is no crown without a cross." I wish we could go to Easter without going to Good Friday. But history tells us that we got to go to Good Friday before we can get to Easter. Before we go to Canaan, you've got a Red Sea to confront. You have a hardened heart of a Pharaoh to confront. You have to prestigious hilltops of evil in the wilderness to confront. And when you get to the promised land, you have giants in the land. But the beautiful thing about it is that there are a few people who've been over in the land. They have spied enough to say, even though the giants are there, we can possess the land because we got the internal fiber to stand up amid anything that we have to face. And for DeKalb County, this is the struggle of a great community. It is the struggle that transforms us. It is the struggle that makes us great. It is the struggle that leads us to success. In the words of Paul Robeson, we must realize that our future lies chiefly in our own hands. It is our most difficult challenge that strengthens our survival skills. It is our greatest fear that deepens our faith. It is our weakest ability that beckons us to grow. Anyone and anything can challenge us, but it will not overtake us unless we surrender. Working together, DeKalb County, we can survive any struggle. And that is the state of DeKalb County. A great community with a strong track record of success. A great community that continues to succeed even as it struggles. Because you can't have one without the other. A great community that sees strength in its struggle because it's the ongoing struggle that assures us a successful future steeped in potential, hope, and possibility. I'm excited about what tomorrow holds for DeKalb County. Our past successes, although good, will not be the sole determinant of our legacy. We still have more work to do. Our vision for DeKalb County is neither audacious nor meek, but a reflection of the values we share as a community. If we remain steadfast to our principles and continue to provide sound leadership, then a bright future will be ours to enjoy. So today I ask each and every resident of DeKalb County to join us as we embark on a journey to build a greater DeKalb County. To join us in creating a model of excellence and governance. Join us in uniting the county and restoring faith in public service. Join us in protecting what we cherish most, the legacy of this great county. Join us because no one person can do it alone. The CEO cannot do it alone, and the Board of Commissioners cannot do it alone. Other elected officials cannot do it alone. Only through the power of our eternal Creator and our working together as one DeKalb will our collective dreams for this great county come true. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. CEO, for just those outstanding words, and I think once again we were all challenged as well as encouraged. I think I say this on behalf of Michael Harris and the Accountant Quality Growth. Once again, we thank all of you for coming out today. We thank all of our sponsors who I just want to recognize again
and our presenting sponsors are AECOM, Wells Fargo, Gas South, Rialto Capital Management, as well as the other sponsors that are highlighted here in the program as well. Also, besides sponsors, events of this magnitude will not take place without tireless efforts of those people that are behind the scenes. And in particular, I want to just recognize a handful of people that, I was sharing with someone earlier at 11:30, we're exchanging emails last night, and it just talks about the commitment to this event. And so for the Council of Quality Growth staff, I want to just publicly acknowledge Jennifer Head, as well as also Carol K. Miller for their work. I also want to recognize Erica Brooks from the CEO staff. And then also from my staff at the Chamber